Cartoon News Network welcomes Big Mike from O Block home from prison with a paperwork party because he missed out on a lot of good times with family and friends. In his first interview since his release from prison with DJU, Big Mike blamed everyone but himself for snitching on King Von and going to jail, when he could have beat the case if he had kept his mouth shut. But of course he's just a stupid gangbanger, not an intelligent black man.
Well, you feel like it was people telling on you in regard to the murder. So that's what led you to telling on King Von.
It wasn't even that. It's like, niggas steady saying like I told them. Everybody needs to get down and back a little bit.
In May 2014, King Von took the life of Malcolm Stuckey and shot rival Jar O City gang member Marcus Carpenter in the face at the birthday party for his childhood friend from Killa Ward, Boss CJ. In the first part of our welcome home paperwork party, we revealed that in July 2014, Big Snitch from O Block, oops, I meant Big Mike, started cooperating with the police almost immediately following his arrest. Boss CJ also gave information to the police about the murder of Malcolm Stuckey, but he didn't take the stand against his childhood homie or anyone else because he was killed a few months before King Von's trial in 2017. In the final part of our welcome home paperwork party, we'll continue to explore the statements given to authorities by Big Snitch from O Block, oops, I did it again, I meant Big Mike. Reveal the evidence that Boss CJ gave to the police, and discuss the testimony of the shooting victims that survived the attack of King Von and Big Snitch from O Block. Boss CJ was a struggle rapper from Killa Ward 078. For those that don't know, King Von moved to O Block as a teenager, but spent a lot of his formative years growing up in Killa Ward. Killa Ward 078 is a set of mostly gangster disciples, with a couple of well-respected black disciples like King Von and BD Rambo in the mix. During the height of King Von's GDK movement, Boss CJ tweeted on May 23, 2014, about his upcoming birthday party. After his mother, understandably, gave a statement to the police about a murder that was committed on her front doorsteps, Boss CJ then related that he had failed to inform reporting detectives of two other subjects who had come to his residence prior to the shooting. Boss CJ stated that approximately 45 minutes before the shooting, a girl he knows as Jasma came to his house to wish him a happy birthday. The girl's name is redacted in Boss CJ's statement, but if you watch the first part of our paperwork party, then you already know that Jasma Mitchell was King Von's homegirl that he introduced to Big Snitch. Oops, I did it again, I meant Big Mike. Jasma received an immunity deal for acting as the getaway driver, testified that both O Blockians were at the scene of the crime, but denied seeing either defendant with a gun. With that out of the way, let's get back to Boss CJ's statement to the police. He stated that Jasma was accompanied by another subject he knows as Von or Devon. He stated that Jasma was driving a gray two-door Grand Prix. He stated that they all spoke without incident. He stated that he went inside of the apartment with both Jasma and Devon for a few minutes. He stated that his mother talked with Devon briefly as he spoke with Jasma. Boss CJ stated that they all went back out onto the front steps.
Man, I don't know why he told. That boy was realer than the bitch, man. I don't know how he told. He coulda hit them with the scoop, but he ain't sugarcoat.
Boss CJ stated that Jasma and Devon left the group and drove off in the gray Grand Prix driven by Jasma. He said that they left abruptly without saying anything. After they left, Marcus Carpenter questioned Boss CJ as to who Devon was. Marcus Carpenter stated that he recognized Devon as a rival BD gang member from the area of 64th and King Drive. Marcus Carpenter's name is redacted in the police report, but it is easy to tell who the report is referring to because Marcus Carpenter is from Jar O City, got shot in the face by King Von, and testified at trial. We'll recap his testimony in a few minutes, but right now let's get back to Boss CJ snitching on King Von. Boss CJ stated that approximately 45 minutes after Jasma and Devon left, he and Marcus Carpenter stepped inside for food. When he stepped out, he saw Devon coming towards him. Carpenter saw the offenders in the gangway and fled without saying anything. He then looked and saw at least two subjects in the gangway. He fled into the residence during the shooting and saw two men run west in his gangway after the shooting. He stated he could not see the face of the subjects in the gangway and could not tell if Devon was one of the offenders. Boss CJ further stated that he used to go to Hyde Park Academy with Devon. He stated Devon was a year ahead of him. He stated he knows Devon to be a BD from 64th and King Drive, and that he has been locked up for shootings in the past. Damn. Ain't that some shit? Boss CJ told the police that he didn't see the face of the shooters in the gangway, but he sneakily points his finger at King Von. On August 13, 2017, Boss CJ was murdered in the Uptown neighborhood on Chicago's North Side. The mother of his child gave up his location after an argument. King Von was found not guilty of murder 4 months later in December 2017. I know all the King Von fanboys out there will continue to believe that Von ordered the hit from jail, but Polo from Hula Gang got booked for Boss CJ's murder. He beat the body because the mother of Boss CJ's child refused to testify against him. Lil Glow from Hula Gang tweeted, "His out south ops be claiming this, motherfucker. Don't even know, for real." At trial, Marcus Carpenter acknowledged he had 2 felony convictions from 2011 for possession of a stolen motor vehicle and possession of cannabis, a pending criminal contempt charge for failure to appear on a prior court date in this case, and a pending felony charge in another state. Carpenter testified that on May 29, 2014, he went to CJ's house in the 5700 block of South LaSalle Street for CJ's birthday party. When Carpenter arrived at the party about 10 a.m., his best friend Timothy Robinson was already there. Carpenter, Robinson, and some other people were in front of the house talking, drinking, and smoking weed. Later that afternoon, Bennett, who was CJ's friend, arrived at the party in a 2-door gray Alero, driven by Jasmine Mitchell. Carpenter identified Bennett in court. Mitchell went on the front porch and began flirting with Robinson. Bennett was standing outside the house talking with CJ, about 5 feet from Carpenter. Bennett repeatedly looked at Carpenter, who looked back at Bennett. Carpenter had a 9mm handgun in his back pocket that he carried for protection. About 15 minutes later, Carpenter observed Bennett retrieve an unknown object from inside the Alero. Bennett placed the object inside his front waistband and covered it with his shirt. Carpenter believed the object was a gun. Bennett returned to an area outside the house and continued speaking with CJ. About 15 minutes later, Bennett and Mitchell left CJ's house in the Alero. Shortly thereafter, Malcolm Stuckey arrived at CJ's house to meet with Carpenter, who was going to sell Stuckey's vehicle for him. About 20 minutes after Bennett and Mitchell left the party, Robinson, who was standing on the porch, said to Carpenter, "Black boy, there go them niggas." Robinson ran off the porch and down LaSalle towards 57th Street. Stuckey and Carpenter were standing in front of CJ's house. Stuckey was standing near the gate to the gangway, and Carpenter was at the other end of the fence closer to the porch. Bennett emerged from the gangway to the front of the house, wearing a blue hoodie over his head. Carpenter heard several gunshots, but did not see a gun. Carpenter felt a pain in his left leg, and realized he had been shot. Carpenter ran along the side of CJ's house, towards the back of the house. Carpenter was facing the alley and observed Bennett standing 20 feet in front of him, in the middle of the alley. Carpenter was then shot in the face and fell to the ground. He did not see where Bennett went. Carpenter never saw Bennett with a gun. Carpenter eventually got up and went to a house across the street for help. An ambulance arrived and transported Carpenter to Stroger Hospital, where he remained for a month and a half. On June 23, 2014, Carpenter viewed a photo array and identified Bennett as the man who shot him. On July 22, 2014, Carpenter identified Bennett in a lineup. In the first part of our paperwork party, we established that Boss CJ's mom did not identify Big Snitch. Oops, I did it again, I meant Big Mike, as one of the shooters. Now, we see that Boss CJ didn't mention his name, and Marcus Carpenter couldn't identify him. Snitching on someone else makes sense. Snitching on yourself makes no sense at all. If you like this video and want to support this channel, please smash that like button and subscribe to the Cartoon News Network for more from us. Detective Casal testified that in March 2015, a weapon which fired some of the cartridge casings recovered at the scene was recovered in an unrelated case. The gun recovered in another case was used in the murders of Malcolm Stuckey, Jekai Ra, K.I. Barnes, and Boss Trell.
You know my aim different. 3 bodies, same pistol.
Detective Murray testified that on July 21, 2014, he had 2 conversations with defendant in an interview room at police headquarters. The first conversation included Detective Casal, and the second conversation included Detective Halloran. Both conversations were video and audio recorded. The recorded conversations were published to the jury. So don't let Big Snitch, oops, I did it again, I meant Big Mike fool you. He's a rat bastard. Defendant states that he and Bennett exited the vehicle and walked through a field and a gangway. Bennett was walking in front of defendant. They did not cover their heads. Defendant states that he always carries his gun, a Glock 40, and Bennett also had a gun. As they exited the gangway, defendant saw Robinson, who was wearing an orange shirt and long dreads. Robinson looked at Bennett with a shocked expression. Robinson, Bennett, and defendant stared at each other for about 10 seconds. Robinson then ran northbound down LaSalle Street. Bennett yelled at Robinson, "What you running for?" When Bennett reached the front of the house, he started shooting. When defendant reached the front of the house, he saw a man fall to the ground. He did not see Bennett shoot that man. Bennett was not shooting at Robinson. Defendant observed Bennett chasing another man who jumped over a banister. Defendant began chasing Robinson down the street and shooting at him. Defendant fired 15 or 16 shots at Robinson, emptying his gun. Defendant states he could see Robinson was hit because of the way he running. Defendant could not tell where Robinson was hit. Defendant stands and demonstrates for the detectives how Robinson was limping as he continued running. Robinson was holding up his pants as he ran. Alright, that's the story, Big Snitch. Damn, I meant Big Mike told detectives. The crazy part is, the nigga went to jail for shooting Timothy Robinson when his dumb ass actually missed. That's right. He went to jail for shooting someone when his dumb ass didn't shoot anybody. That's how he won his appeal. Notably absent from the state's case was any evidence establishing that Robinson was injured as a result of being shot at by defendant. Robinson did not testify. The state did not produce any medical evidence to establish that Robinson was injured. There was no eyewitness testimony as to Robinson's injury. There was similarly no circumstantial evidence that demonstrated that an injury occurred, such as blood on the pavement or on Robinson's clothing. Likewise, there was no physical evidence that established that Robinson was injured. Those that had an opportunity to observe Robinson after the shooting did not testify that Robinson was noticeably injured while they interacted with him. The evidence technician testified that he tested Robinson's hands for gunshot residue 4.5 hours after the shooting occurred at the police station. According to the evidence technician, Robinson was in an interrogation room with Detective Garcia. However, neither Detective Garcia nor the evidence technician testified that Robinson was suffering from any injuries in their presence. So, Big Mike lost his honor and changed his name to Big Snitch without a good reason.
So you feel like it was people telling on you in regard to the murder. So that's what led you to telling on King Von.
It wasn't even that. It's like, niggas steady saying like I told them. Everybody needs to just dial that back a little bit.
Man, I don't know why he told that boy was realer than the bitch, man, I don't know how he told. He coulda hit them with the scoop, but he ain't sugarcoat.